Alright, here we go, guys. We got question 31 here. A circle has a radius of 6x to the ninth, y to the fifth centimeters. The area of a circle can be found by using the formula a equals pi r squared. What is the area of a circle in square centimeters here? So I guess what we are going to do here is we're going to take our radius. We're going to plug that in for where we see r. We'll notice that we're going to have an r squared out there, so I need to take this whole thing and square it. 6x to the ninth, y to the fifth. And we're going to square all that. Oh, I don't know where my 2 went. Sometimes notability acts up here. Alright, so when we have powers raised to other powers, what we need to wind up doing is kind of like distributing our power through here. Now I'm going to do the x and y part first because that's easy. All you got to do is take those two and multiply them. It's like saying x to the ninth times x to the ninth, which will be x to the 18th. So essentially just take those two numbers and multiply them. So that'll be x to the 18th. That should be y to the 10th. Now a lot of people want to put 12 out here in front, but you're not doing 6 times 2. You're technically doing like 6 squared, right? 6 squared, that'll actually be 36. Alright, now you also have this pi out here in front. We're going to kind of just treat that like an additional variable there. So it'll be 36, x to the 18th, y to the 10th, pi. And I guess technically it doesn't matter which way you write those. So yeah, they put the pi's in front of the coefficient there. So it looks like here b is going to be our option. So we already kind of talked about why it's not a, because you're not doing 6 times 2, you're doing 6 squared technically. So you got to be kind of careful on that. A misconception here with these. Notice that you got x to the 11th and y to the 7th there. I think what they might have done on that answer choice, maybe students get confused when you're distributing through your powers. Maybe they were adding their powers instead of multiplying. So when you're distributing through your powers, make sure you're multiplying the powers. So that's a common misconception there on that. So, yep, answer B is going to be our answer of choice on that one. Okay, let's look at this next one. Got a system of equations here. You got 2 graphs right here, ready to go. We need to graph them and then figure out which one of them would give us the solution here. So I guess just which graphs would match up. Once again, this is a great Desmos problem. Desmos, you don't have to solve for y or do any of that junk. You just plug it into Desmos and then you would see the graphs that would match up here. But with this one here, I do want to show you just by hand, just in case you don't have an iPad or something. So this first equation, to graph it, we need to solve for y. We need to get it in y equals mx plus b. So this first equation, you'll have negative 2x minus 4 is one of your graphs. One of your equations. That's got a slope of negative 2, so that's like down 2 over 1, and then it starts at negative 4. Alright, this other one right here, you can actually do in one step. We're going to divide everything by negative 3. So that'll be y equals negative 2 over 3x, and then I guess minus 4. Notice that these have the same y-intercept. So we can probably eliminate a lot of answers right off the get-go, right there, right off the bat, just because the other ones don't have the same y-intercept. So we're looking for y-intercepts of 4. So let's see, one of them definitely has a slope of down 2 over 1. And then the other slope here looks like you got, what is it, down or over, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so here's your slope of negative 2 right here, because that's what down 1, or I mean, sorry, down 2 over 1. Remember, it's rise over run. This other one here is not as pretty. I think it's down 2 and then over 3. So that's how it matches up right there. So obviously none of these other options even come close to that. Once again, this is a good Desmos problem here, so you can type them into Desmos. So I'm going to do that here real quick, just so you can see the ease of it. No, I want you to go away. There we go. I have no idea what's going on here. Okay, here we go. So what do we have? 2x plus y equals -4. And then your second one, it's going to be -3y equals 2x and then plus 12. And make sure you type it in right. So if we kind of zoom in, I guess, on our graph, looks like you got that same looking graph right there, same line intercept, so you're good to go there. So that one's rather straightforward, especially if you got the Desmos. Which inequality describes all the solutions? Alright, so basically solve for x, right? You got parentheses, that's your distributive property there, that's 15, and then minus 5x, and then is less than -2x, plus 6. Now, a lot of people like to get to where x is positive, so a lot of people are going to say, let's add 5x to both sides. So I'll go ahead and do that since that's kind of a common thing there. So I think that's, what, 3x? 3x plus 6. Over here on the other side, you got 15. Do need to eventually subtract over 6. So I think that's 9 is less than 3x. Which once you divide by 3, you're going to get 3 is less than x. Now you got to be really careful here. Well, actually, they didn't even put the answer choices I was going to think. I was thinking they might try to do one where they kind of switch around your signs and everything and flip around specifically the inequalities here. So I kind of wish they had this as a +3 so I could kind of hit on this here. But obviously, okay, we got +3, so it's got to be this one here. Notice, if you have 3 is less than x, this is the same exact thing as saying x is greater than 3 in the complete reverse order. So, there you go on that one. That one's rather straightforward. Don't forget to, we didn't see it on this one, but if you divide or multiply an inequality, so that's, with greater than or less than signs. If you divide or multiply an inequality by a negative number, you must flip. I guess I should put must. You must flip the inequality sign. So we didn't see that one here, but so like say if you had like an example, let's say you had -1x is less than 5 or something like that. You'd have to divide both sides by -1, and then that means x is greater than -5. So you got to flip it around there. So just kind of be careful on something like that. And that's like its own example right there. So. But anyways, we didn't see that come up. They might try to throw that at you, so just be on the lookout there for that. Alright, the graph of the quadratic function g is shown on the grid. The coordinates of the x-intercept and the y-intercept and the vertex are integers. What is the maximum value of the function g? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's how high this graph comes. What's the highest y value? What's the maximum value right there? It's got to be 9. If you just look at it closely. Now, other things they could ask you, maybe they ask you for what are the zeros or what are the roots every now and then. Those would be your x-intercepts, but they're asking for the maximum, so you don't need to really worry about that. So y equals 9. So our answer, and I guess you just write in a 9. So that one's pretty straightforward. This one right here, I guess it's just writing a function here. An organization has a monthly budget of X dollars. Every month you have $2,070 to spend on salaries. 1/4 of whatever that remaining budget is spent on monthly activities. Which function can be used to find the amount of dollars spent on activities here? So essentially you're asking what is your budget. So yeah, so X is our starting budget. We need to think about that. Now, the question as far as the difference in most of these answer choices is between whether you subtract off your $2,070 or if you divide first. But since they talked about spending the $2,000 first, going to say x minus the 2070. Then whatever that is, once you do that, you got to divide all of that there by 4. So probably answer D is probably the best option there in this case. Alright guys, that was a short one there, so we are done.